Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the What's Next on Dennis Berinchyk, the undefeated and newly crowned WBO lightweight champion of the world, as he scored an upset 12-round decision victory over Emanuel Navarrette to capture the vacant WBO title on May 18th. On ESPN. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, Berinchyk. Oh yeah, and before we get into this, guys, fantasy heavyweight tournament is coming up and starting at the end of this week. So be ready for the rankings and all the fighters. I'm gonna individually discuss each fighter in the tournament, and then we will get into the brackets and stuff. So back to this fight. Berinchyk, yeah, not a lot of people were giving him a ton of a chance. I did tell everybody that he's an undefeated former Olympian, you know, veteran, fighting out of the Ukraine. That Ukrainian 2012 team was insane, and to not overlook him, especially with Navarrete moving up to lightweight, a fourth weight class. I told everybody it was going to be tough, and it was more than tough, as he defeated Navarrete by a decision to capture the title, biggest one of his career, first world title. The older fighter, 35, I think, 35, 36, but he got the job done, and now the big question is what's next for Dennis Berinchyk following this huge victory. So let's run through the top 10 at lightweight and see what could potentially be on his radar. We start with Vasily Lomachenko, 35-year-old newly crowned IBF champion. You know, he had talked about potentially fighting Vasily, even though they're friends and former Olympic teammates. He had said that he would be interested in fighting him, but he didn't mention his name afterwards. And I think, I mean, I understand the reasoning. I believe that he wants to, you know, and a lot of his people want to keep Ukrainian from fighting Ukrainian right now. They're kind of unified in their fight, in their war right now with Russia. So I think they kind of want to keep the focus on that and not have their guys fighting each other, even though it would be a huge fight. And it'd be to unify belts. And I'll tell you right now, if Lomachenko does not get the showdown that he wants with Tank Davis, this might be a good option for Berinchyk right here, and for Loma, because it'd be an easy fight to make. You could make it an all-Ukrainian battle. Shit, you might even be able to host it in the Ukraine, and the winner takes home 2 belts. So it'd be a big matchup, but I'm leaning towards the less likely that it happens next. Then you got Gervonta Tank Davis. I don't think Tank is going to take a risk against a guy with the skill set and with not a big name who also fights on Top Rank. I think he's only going to go after big name fighters if he's going to cross the street at all. So I don't see Tank and Berinchyk being possible. Then there's number 3 WBC champion Shakur Stevenson. I absolutely could see this fight, and this might be Bob Arum's way to keep Stevenson on Top Rank right here, because I don't think Lomachenko's going to want to fight Stevenson. Stevenson fights Hardarunian in July, and I know that's his last fight with Top Rank, and Bob Arum floated that he wants Lomachenko and Stevenson later in the year to unify belts, which, you know, there might be some interest there, but I think Lomachenko has made it clear that he wants Tank Davis next to unify belts. So I think his people, Bob Arum, Tank's people, because they seem to want to fight, and especially if they get through, if Tank gets through Frank Martin in June, I think it's very possible we could see Lomachenko and Tank Davis. So Stevenson, I think, might stay with Top Rank and fight, what's his name right here, Berinchyk, to unify belts. I think that might be the next biggest fight. Berinchyk did mention Stevenson's name in his post-fight presser, and nobody mentioned Stevenson's name. So, you know this guy's down to fight. He'd be interested, and it'd be to unify belts. And the winner will truly be in line for the potential winner of Davis and Loma. And then we got an undisputed title fight to talk about, if that happens. So, a lot of moving pieces, but I think Berinchyk and Stevenson could be the start to undisputed, and at the very least, unifying belts. Then you got former unified lightweight champion George Kambosos Jr. Kambosos is always an option. Of course, it'd be up to him if he would want to fight Berinchyk, but I think the Berinchyk people would look at it like, what would be the point? You know, he's already gotten his ass beat in 3 of his last 4 fights, 2 to Devin Haney, then Loma knocks him out. Yes, he carries a big name, but you're just not gaining much out of beating Kambosos, and we don't even know when Kambosos wants to come back or if he's going to come back at 135. So I don't see this one coming next for Berinchyk. Then you got Jermaine Ortiz. I think it could happen if Ortiz moves back down to 135 and Berinchyk can't get a unification bout. I think Ortiz would be a viable option. He's been in the ring with Lomachenko. He took a shot at Teofimo Lopez. I think Berinchyk might give him a run and a shot if he wanted a shot. So we'll see. Then there's Isaac Cruz. Cruz has moved up to 140 officially. He's a WBA champion there. Not going to happen. Then there's Raymond Muratalla, undefeated contender. This one definitely could happen. If Bob Arum wanted to test Muratalla, who's one of his bright younger fighters on the rise. He's 26. He's I think he's 20 or 21-0 now, and he packs like 17 knockouts. If Bob Arum wanted to risk Muratalla to go after a world title against Berinchyk, this would be a good matchup right here. And I think Berinchyk would go for it if he can't get a unification or a big fight. So I definitely think this one's got some legs to it. Then there's William Zepeda, undefeated contender. 30-0 right now, 26 knockouts. He is the #1 ranked contender in every governing body right now. And he should be the new #1 ranked contender in the WBO, because he was #2 in the WBO when Berinchyk fought Navarrete. They have not yet updated their rankings, but Zepeda should be #1. So, all that being said, Zepeda is next fighting Giovanni Cabrera in July. If he gets through that fight, which he's the favorite, would Loma, Tank, or Stevenson want to fight him next? I don't know. Those are big names. They might want to, fight each other. So I think there's a real chance that the WBO could order Zepeda to fight Berinchyk next. Sometimes governing bodies, well, even after a mandatory fight has happened for a vacant belt, they'll order a second mandatory, because the title was vacant. But the WBO doesn't normally do that. So I think they're going to give Berinchyk the option, another fight to have an optional defense first, and then they'll order a mandatory. But if he can't get somebody to sign on and fight him for an optional defense, WBO might just say, all right, now we're going to order, since you can't find a suitable opponent that you want. So we'll see. I definitely think Zepeda could get the opportunity against Berinchyk here. Then there's Zaur Abdullayev. He's an opponent who's, I think he's like #6 or 7 in the WBO. I definitely think Abdullayev could get an opportunity against Berinchyk if Berinchyk can't get a bigger name opponent in his next fight. Then there's Frank Martin, undefeated contender. I don't see him getting the crack at Berinchyk, whether he wins or loses against Tank Davis. If he wins, he's probably going to fight Tank in a rematch or get one of the other big names like Stevenson or Loma. If he loses, he's not a likely option, but he's also with the PBC, so I don't see it. Then you got Edwin De Los Santos. I don't see this one. He's a PBC guy, and he looked like crap against Stevenson, so I don't think so. There's Angel Fierro. He should be the new number 2 ranked contender in the WBO. So maybe Berinchyk, if he can't get anybody else, might choose him. But I don't think so. Maxie Hughes is off the table, and I don't think Floyd Schofield is a legitimate opponent right now for Berinchyk. So Berinchyk is going to have a lot of options. I really think a unification bout with Shakur Stevenson is the most likely option, to be honest. But then there's Raymond Muratalla, there's William Zepeda, there's Zaurur Abdullayev, and there's even an outside chance that Lomachenko might be interested in this fight. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of options. We'll see what happens. That's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on Denis Berinchyk, the newly crowned WBO lightweight champion of the world. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.